Pilot to Pilot Network. You know, a couple years ago we did a video on the Just Aircraft factory down in Walhalla, North Carolina. And it was such a success, and we had so much fun looking at those beautiful little airplanes. I ran into a guy named Billy Payne, the owner of Plain Fun Aircraft. Happens to also be in North Carolina, only this time in a little place called Brasstown. We went and paid a visit to Billy Payne. Come on along and see what we found out. You're going to have a great time looking at these Just Aircraft.
Springtime in the mountains. So I thought I'd give you a quick shot of downtown Brasstown, North Carolina. There she is. Downtown Brasstown. Clay's Corner, the local quick stop, and home of the world famous New Year's Eve possum drop. In case you missed it, this is the place. And if you look up under the porch roof at Clay's Corner, you can see there's a possum hanging right there. So we're in North Carolina, and we're going to stop in and pay a visit to the assisted building facilities for Billy Payne at Plain Fun Aircraft. There's Billy now.
Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, look at this. Brand new facility.
Hey, it's Captain T, Pilot to Pilot Network, coming to you from Brasstown, North Carolina, where we stopped in for a visit with Billy Payne from, I can't remember the name. I want to put Just Air in there all the time.
Well, it's
Plain Fun Aircraft, and he kind of majors in Just Aircraft. So
we're like brothers, all right.
I wanted to dig into Billy's background a little bit and find out what his background is, where he came from, and how he got where he is. So I'm going to let him tell you a little bit of his history, where he got started and when he started flying and when he decided to build and all that stuff. So go for it.
Well, the bad thing is it's a long time ago, so I forgot a lot of it. So, but I've always been a motorhead, I reckon, and that drives you to do a lot of stupid stuff in your life. So my brother was flying back when I was a kid, you know, 8, 10 years old, and we traded us up an old Rally 2B, and so I started flying it when I was about 10, and you know, it was quite the experience. You know, I'm still alive. I'm lucky.
Is that one of the flying lawn chair incarnations?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a quality lawn chair either. It's just a lawn chair. And you know, we had the old 447 Rotax or something like 227 maybe on it back in that day. And I think we upgraded it one time to the 447. You know, being all big and bad.
More speed is better.
But I was. Quick story, I was little. I mean, I weighed probably 50 pounds. So, you know, it didn't even know I was in there, thank goodness. And that old motor wasn't much count. It quit probably at least every other time I flew it, maybe every time. But I just expected it. I thought it was normal. I thought that's what, you know, I just wanted to fly. So, you know, you're sitting there in the cockpit and you got your seatbelt on, and it's got a twist throttle on the stick. So I'll be flying along here in the valleys and all, and it just go whoa, you know, and you could take and milk the throttle, and it'd go whoa, 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 whoa. And I'll be like, oh, okay. So I couldn't reach the pull cord because I was little.
Handy.
So I would take and unbuckle my seatbelt, get up on my knees, and give it a few yanks, and see if I could get it start back. If I couldn't, I'd drop back down, put my seatbelt on, land it somewhere. And I mean, it was just an everyday thing.
Those thrilling days of yesteryear.
And that is actually standard gear.
Is it?
With the 26-inch tires. Like I said, that's kind of my favorite combination. And that's the Rage gear, which is a bungee and a shock.
A hybrid.
A hybrid. And those came out, these are, Rage gear is pretty old. We've got a lot better technology now on the shocks, but I do like the system. So this airplane is completely stock except for the rage gear and a 26-inch tires. Same way it goes. Got 100 horse Rotax. This is Jeff's from Maggie Valley. And he's got some Rough Rider stuff on there. His grandpa was in with the Rough Riders or something. There's a story with every airplane, you know.
So are these, some of these look like rebuilds, some of them look like maybe customer building in process. Tell me what you got going.
Well, this one, yeah, this is a panel job. He's upgrading. I just brought it up here because it's going to be such a tear apart thing, you
Sure.
know. I keep most all my tooling up here. The hangar's, you know, half-mile away. So when I get a bigger job that requires more than a day, I bring it in. I got heat and air conditioning. So, you know, that kind of changes things too. So yeah, this one is actually one I'm doing for a guy in Texas. And
So you're doing the build for him?
yeah, and it's getting the Edge motor, and I hope it's going to be here this week. They've been kind of held up on it, so it kind of got pushed to the side. Typically, I don't like to build but one airplane at a time, finish it, and start another one. But because of the vid, everything's been delayed so much, so I ended up starting this next airplane in the meantime, and then I always take too much work, you know.
Tell me about the Edge motor.
What it is a Rotax base motor, and they do fuel injection and you know, turbos and cams, and you know, just hop it up. So this one's going to be 120 horse fuel injected 912 big bore.
Turbocharged.
This one won't be turbo.
Oh, standard.
Standard. This kind of cool situation because these two guys are buddies. That's the red and black plane behind us in this one. We're going super light, not super light because it made me put all this panel stuff in there. But if people let me build them like I want to build them, they're a different airplane. But it won't be super heavy, put it that way. So he's going less horsepower and keeping it light. Well, his buddy over here in the black and red airplane's going big horsepower, but it's going to be 150 pounds heavier.
You putting a Titan in it?
It'll be the Rotax, the Edge big motor, 155 horse, turboed, fuel injected, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a great tool because, you know, I've dealt with all these airplanes in all kinds of configurations, but these two being done side by side and flying along side by side a lot, it's going to be fun to see really where the sweet spot is. You know, a Highlander, 100 horsepower on a Highlander is plenty of horsepower. Our runway's 2,000 feet, and I can take off and climb out at half power in a Highlander with 100 horsepower. So, do we really need more? Nah, but everybody wants more.
Always.
But the weight is, you know, the weight is the thing.
So what's the weight difference gonna be, you know?
The weight difference, this airplane, he's gonna have 31s. That's a
Yeah,
killer.
that's a lift.
But this airplane will be about 710. Problem is with that bigger motor, one, we have to push it out further because we have to use a ring mount for the turbo. So we're 3 inches more forward, and we're about 40 pounds heavier on the nose.
Now we got a CG problem.
Now we got a CG problem. So in his airplane, I have put the battery all the way in the tail. I've made a heavy stinger for the tail wheel. So we're going to add, you know, 15 pounds to the tail. So now we're not 40 pounds anymore. We're 65 pounds. Now it's going to go straight up, of course, but it's also going to be harder to stop. It's not going to land as slow. You know, we're carrying more wing load. So that sweet spot is what I like to see. But the main thing is, if you can throw it away, throw it away.
So we've been looking at Highlanders, but this happens to be a SuperStool.
This is the standard SuperStool. Actually, straight out of the box. It doesn't have spoilers or anything like that. I'll show you some of those later. But just a standard SuperStool kit. This one's got 100 horse Rotax. If you build it light, 100 horse Rotax is enough. If you get over 750 pounds, you need more horsepower on a SuperStool. But if you keep it light, 100's enough.
So that's one of the keys to these airplanes that we should probably bring up to people that are watching that maybe don't know. 100 horsepower sounds like underpowered airplane, but if you got an airplane that only weighs 700 pounds, that's a lot of horsepower.
That's a lot of horsepower. And you know, the way that we get that 100 horsepower power to weight ratio with the Rotaxes, it's pretty well. You can take a 100 horsepower 0200 and put on it, and it's not going to do too well.
Yeah.
Because it's 80 pounds heavy.
I do like that SuperStool gear. That is so radical. He doesn't even have great big tires on it.
He's got 26s, I believe. Yeah.
Look at how tall. It sets up way tall and nice. I love this feature here where you can actually see what you're taxiing into.
I love the side windows there. And you know, on my competition plane, I had these, but I don't run a cow. And that's the cool thing about the Rotax is you don't have to run a cow because we don't have to have it for cooling. But I ran a clear firewall, and I could see right there. Flew the ultralights for a while. Finally figured out that that's not a good enough machine to be dependent on. And then I had several airplanes from then on. You know, a Flybaby and a Starduster and a Rans and a Kit Fox and a, you know, just a bunch of airplanes here and there throughout life. You know, take a little break when the kids come along and all that kind of stuff. I had a Starduster and I was doing aerobatics and all that crap, and I hated the feeling that if I have to put this airplane down, even in a good cornfield, I'm on total. I hated that feeling because I was used to landing everywhere. I was used to them quitting. That's what I was raised on. I'd seen Just Aircraft at a show, and I walked by their airplane, and I thought, boy, if I just ever wanted a tough airplane, I believe that would be it. And I kept walking. I didn't even look at it. And so after this Kit Fox deal come along, and I seen how flimsy it was, I was like, well, you know, I kind of like to just not worry about landing in a cornfield. So went over to the factory, checked out the planes, and took a ride in the Escapade, and the wings didn't flop too bad when we went down the runway and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, well, yeah, this is cool. So anyways,
we should throw in here someplace that the factory's not all that far from here.
No, about 60 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily straight line distance.
Right. Yeah, that is. that is straight line.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So it's even farther by road.
It's an hour and a half by road.
There you go.
But and you know, me and those guys, they're idiots too, so we kind of got along pretty well. And so, you know, I went flying. I don't know. I went around the patch one time in the Escapade, and Troy's like, well, what do you want to do? And I said, no, I'm done. Just get me one. And so I built one, and I built a Highlander, and it became pretty popular. I mean, won the Grand Champion at Sun and Fun and all that crap, you know. And I ain't quit building them since. I just hadn't, you know, and then I got into more of the, you know, that was just for me. That was just my fun toy. I didn't really mean for this to be my job.
It's a disease.
And it's everything with a motor is a drug. Cocaine would be a lot cheaper than airplanes and race cars and motorcycles.
And if there's more than one of them, it's a race.
That's right.
That's a smooth wing Highlander, looks like.
That is. It's got the slick leading edge. This one's actually got a parachute in it.
Really?
The one I've done this for originally, the guy's wife said she wouldn't fly with him if it didn't have a parachute. So I said, so you're not going to put a parachute in there, right? And but he's got a parachute, and I actually sold it to another guy for him, and so a new owner now, but it's still got the parachute in there. If you'll take a shot.
Pretty airplane.
I don't know if anybody's seen one with how I done that.
Blows it out through the back window.
Yeah, I made that little blow panel there, and you know, if you had a mid-air, you'd be glad you had it. Every other time, you'd be not liking it because it's 40 pounds. This is a builder assist guy that's coming in, and he's already got his fuselage, everything kind of fitted in it, and started covering. He's already covered his tail feathers, but what I have you do when you come in, the first thing you do is unpack your kit. And I got these foam boards here, so you know, just pin up all your bolts and nuts so you're not digging through boxes every time you want to find a bolt. And pretty soon after, you know, a little bit, you get pretty acclimated to where everything is, and you say, oh, I need this, and you say, oh yeah, I seen this over here and there. And so I've got him, some of his stuff still laid out here, and I kind of got him stuck back in the corner because he left for a week or so. But, and he's, you know, gives us some shelves here for all his little weldment parts and all that. And we start with the tail.
Always.
Always start with the tail. And
always.
He's already made his flying wires, and we fitted all the tail. And then I get you started covering, because the longest process in a build is covering and painting in our kits, because our kits are pretty much all done. You don't, you know, they're supposed to assembly mostly. So I want to start painting as soon as we can in the build. So as soon as he gets back, I think he's coming back next week, he'll be in the paint booth priming and getting these pieces painted, because the paint process takes time. So we want to go in there and shoot primer in the morning, come in here and build something. The next day we're going to sand that primer. If it's what we want, we're going to wash it and get it ready for paint the next day. And so you're going to take 2 hours of paint work a day, and then the rest of the time you can be working on building wings and everything else. So I try to get that paint process going so that we're painting in the paint process every day.
So everybody needs a place from time to time to do some refinish work, maybe a little sandblasting. So got a little tent set up here, hard roof, plenty of ventilation, and you get right in there and blast away. So we're on our way to the Plain Fun Aircraft paint booth.
And it's, you know, none of this stuff should be in here, but it is.
That's the way it works with airplanes. You never throw anything out.
And
keep everything that's left over.
so we come in to the paint booth, and got some seat bases in here I've done for that black and red airplane in there. And so we got plenty of racks and all kinds of stuff depending on what you're painting. And
what paint do you use the most?
I use a Superfly.
Superfly. That goes with that's the system,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And good quality paints.
It's a little cutie.
This is.
Go ahead.
This is one that I just got in, that I'm doing an annual on, that's going to be for sale, which I don't know if I ought to say that yet, because I got about probably 15 people in line. I cannot keep a used Highlander.
They're pretty hot commodity.
They are really, really hot, and you know, it being 8 months on a kit and a year and a half to 2 years before I can have one built, used ones are, you know, the way to go. So, but that's, yeah, nice little airplane, 700 hours. It does have a Highlander wing and Highlander gear, but it has an Escapade tail. This was kind of in the transition. So I'm not going to sell it until I put an Escapade tail on it.
Which engine?
100 horse rotax.
And what's something like that sell for, Bill?
It's going to be about 70.
Yeah, Billy's some kind of a baker. He's got an oven here.
So this is the cookie maker, and you know, we do powder coat. I like to powder coat basically anything that I can on the airplane. I like to powder coat. One, I can powder coat it, bake it, and in 20 minutes I can put it on. So this is the dirty shop. This is the fabbing, the beating, the banging, the work on whatever needs worked on. And this is where I build the exhaust, the doors, the shocks, the flap handles, anything that needs fabbed, you know, goes in here. And sheet metal work.
So this really is more what I expected to see when I found your builder assistance building, but now I know where you're hiding all this stuff. So,
well, I try to keep the other shop just airplanes. This kind of ends up being more than just aircraft airplanes.
but wait, there's more. Just so you thought you'd seen all the little nooks and crannies. There's a wing jig here and wing parts and all kinds of paints and stuff all stacked up ready to go. Look at cylinders. This is like an airport graveyard.
Junk, just junk.
Look at aluminum parts stacked up here for making control surfaces. Oh baby. So there's a set of wings and stuff here and control surfaces, and Billy says this is a builder assist, but he hasn't been here for a couple of months. So what's up with that? Do you have a time limit on them where they got to complete their airplane and move on?
There's no time limit. I don't care how long it takes. Builder assist is $750 a month. So if you're here working, it's $750 a month. If you're not, your stuff's still in my way. It's still $750 a month. So it gives them a little motivation, I think.
So this looks to me like a SuperStool.
This is a XL.
This got the long fuselage
Long
on
tail. This one's actually got the 200 horse fuel injected Titan.
it. 200 horse?
Yeah.
Oh.
It has spoilers. If you will go that way, maybe.
Yeah, I've seen them, but we'll see if we can see them again.
So when the
Do that
ailerons
again.
come up, spoilers come up.
Let me get on it if I can. There we go. One more time.
So the spoilers come up with the ailerons. So, you know, when we get really slow, the ailerons don't do much, so hopefully the spoilers will come in and kill a little lift on that high wing. And of course the slats.
Yeah.
I don't know if they understand slats or not,
Well, yeah, they do.
but they're a big safety thing, you know, and let us get a higher angle of attack.
You got your slats and you got your slots. These be slats.
These slats.
And that kind of a unique design of the slat, the way they pivot up here. Most of them go, I gotta get my hand out of the way here. Most of the original slats go this way. The Highlander slats are mounted on a hinge. It doesn't really matter, they're all airflow actuated. So what works, works.
Yeah. So this one's got everything but the kitchen sink. This is exactly the way I wouldn't build a SuperStool. But it's full IFR.
Holy cow.
It's got it all. Autopilot, even comes with a Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
But it's electronic ignition, fuel injected. You know, everything you can.
That's a fixed pitch prop though.
That is a fixed pitch prop. Yeah.
That's probably okay.
It is.
Probably don't need the extra hub weight. And
We
all
don't. We got enough weight as it is. Actually, this airplane come out at 1050, which is probably as light or lighter than most all XLs that are naked. My XL that we're going to look at in a minute is 860, but you'll see why.
So we're talking about gear placement on Highlanders. I wasn't aware that they build a number of tricycle gear Highlanders. I've never seen one, so I wasn't even aware they made them. Billy says they're all preset for your choice of gear.
They're all done. So if the standard kit comes with the landing gear and it mounts here and here. All right, so that's in tail dragger configuration. If we want to go tricycle gear, we take that gear, we turn it around backwards, we put it on the two rear attach points, put our nose gear setup on and our nose wheel. If we want floats, we use the rear attachment and the front attachment. And so there's no structure to be done if you're going on floats where you got to reinforce the firewall, you got to do all this stuff. It's ready to go. And we'll be later, we can show you a couple tricycle gear airplanes down at the hangar and all that stuff, so we'll show you the different configurations. We also have an extreme gear that uses these 3 attach points, and it's 4 inches longer than the standard gear. So more, you know, stronger, more robust, gets us more angle of attack, all that kind of stuff.
For really big tires.
Yeah. I tell you, one of my best setups that I like is standard gear with 26-inch push tires.
You're talking about the
This one over here.
folding wing capabilities of the Highlanders and the Just aircraft. He's pulling a pin out of the forward spar, of course the tubular spar. So you pull the pin out, and typically there's a turtle deck on there that needs to get moved out of the way, but that just takes 2 seconds. And then the whole wing just pivots back out of the way on the rear spar. Now again, for since it's been a couple of years since we were at Just Air, the leading edge is tubular, and that's actually a spar, and the trailing edge is tubular, and that's actually a spar, and I believe they're the same size.
They are. They are.
But they got all that camber in between.
And, you know, when you fold that wing, I haven't got these put in yet, but there's a tab here and a tab here that you put a little jury strut in there.
Okay.
If you're going to haul it down the road.
Right.
Pull
The
it back up.
cables all run up the back of the post.
Yeah.
And the fuel lines all come through the back of the post, so you don't have to disconnect anything. All you got to do is pull a pin and swing the wing.
Yeah.
So what we got here, I think, is Billy Payne's personal SuperStool.
This is Rambo.
Rambo is famous. Made movies.
He is famous. But this is an XL, and it's suffering on horsepower. It's 135 horse 0290D. With that, though, it's 860 pounds. So it's lighter than most standard SuperStools with road taxes when these guys load them up. The bad thing about it is, if I was rich and famous, I'd put a Titan on there and it'd be the same weight. And I'd be 180 horse. And then I'd really be happy. I like...
There you go. This is what we call minimalist here.
No, this panel is so way overkill. I don't even want that.
You gotta love it.
But what it does, you know, if you build your panel small and you got these side windows,
You can see
man,
everything.
the visibility is so good when you're trying to dodge that stump or
Look at that.
whatever.
You can see right down through the panel out the side window there. Look at that.
Well, this morning is the day after the storm. Hell of a rainstorm here last night. We're going to go take a little ride in Rambo, Billy Payne's personal SuperStool. This ought to be fun. Everything will be mud.
Okay, well, from the cockpit of Rambo now, the ultimate stole machine.
You see how fast it is. We're going 17 on the ground.
I know. Just the airflow over it is just phenomenal. Oh, silly me.
So now we got some flaps in.
Yep.
And we can keep it nose down with these flaps in, and it's not going to gain no speed. And what I'll do is I'll get it down here on the runway and I'll drag it out a little bit so everybody...
So you got what, 30 degrees of Fowler flap?
40.
40 degrees.
Yeah.
And they're big.
And they're big.
They're big.
So we come down like this, see?
Oh, I got slow and the slats came out.
Now the slats will save us, and that's our airspeed indicator. So now we can just hold it. We'll just add power. Let's say we want to land up here a little higher. So let's just drag her down the runway until we say, I want to land right now.
That's where these windows come in so nice down here.
Yeah.
That nose was so high I couldn't see anything over it. And I'm 6'6" or 6'1".
Right. So you're looking there for your creek edge or your bank or your stump or whatever, you know. And as soon as you see it, you just pull power and let it go.
you know, through this builder assist thing, I get that feeling out of those people. You know, I get their excitement, and we get to go fly it the first time and all that stuff. And yeah, it gets you pumped up. There's nothing like flying the plane that you built.
And there you have it, friends and neighbors. Billy Payne, Plane Fun Aircraft, Brasstown, North Carolina. Follow the links up above, follow the phone number up above, check out his website. He's the real deal. Anything you want to know about just aircraft building, Billy Payne is your guy. We appreciate each and every one of you. We hope you're having fun watching the videos. We're having a ball doing them. And ring that bell and subscribe. You get a little tickler every time we publish something on YouTube. For now, it's Captain T. So long.